And we are live. This is Travis from Trade with Travis, Carter Cow Capital. Hope everybody's doing very well on this Tuesday morning as we're getting very close to Christmas, 12 days before Christmas actually ends up starting. Hopefully your trading week has been going well. Hopefully your Santa rally has been going well as well. Got to be able to get some of those Christmas gifts and everything else like that. As we go through and be able to take a look at what's happening in the morning, what we'll do is take a look at some Forex pairs, some what's happening with the overall challenge, with the Ftmo challenge, what's going on with overall manual trades and everything else like that, and go from there. So let me go ahead and go through the disclaimer, and then after that we'll start talking. So I'm not a CTA, so I'm not going to tell you whether to buy or to sell. What I'm going to do is teach you education, and from the education you can be able to make your own informed decision. Understand that Forex trading involves risk. It involves risk of being able to make money, also involves risk of being able to lose money. So please keep that in mind and understand that past performance is not indicative of future results, which means that if you end up making money yesterday, it's not promised that you can end up making money today. So with that being said, as I go through, I end up sending out a test message. Just wanted to make sure everybody can be able to see that. I want to make sure that I end up inviting each and every person to our overall Discord. The Trade with Travis Discord is fairly new. It has a lot of educational material that you can be able to sink your teeth into when it comes down to all of the stuff that we have. Make sure that you end up joining that as we end up having 3 groups that you can be able to get yourself placed into as we go through and do everything else like that. And especially along the way, we're going to end up adding more information and more live streams and stuff like that inside of the Discord alone as we get through. Been swamped with a lot of stuff that has been happening. For school, trying to obviously most of y'all know that I am a teacher, so trying to get everybody to go through their certifications and everything else like that at this particular point in time as we end up getting close to the winter break. With that being said, make sure that you end up doing a couple things for me, a couple of favors. One, make sure that you end up going to the MQL5 page. Make sure that you end up testing out some of my expert advisors that we end up having on that page. If you want to take a look at those, that is the Boss EA, that is the Skywalker EA as well. The Boss EA is actually on a launch. It's actually on a launch phase at this particular point. We've had a lot of videos on it on Expert Advisor Reviews, which is our second page. Make sure that you end up taking a look at that as well. Y'all have helped out to be able to put Expert Advisor Reviews on some of the top main channels, which is very awesome, only having 71 subscribers. So that is very commendable to each and every one of y'all. I'm very excited about the overall growth when it came down to that. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about what's happening today. And then after that, let's talk about what's going on with the challenge, what's going on with overall trading and everything else like that. So today, what do we have? Today is the first fundamentals day of the week. We end up having climate count change for the pound actually end up being 30.5, which was not what they actually expected when it came down to movement. Also, okay, make sure that's it. Okay, cool. Also, a little bit later on today, we're going to end up having a big one, which is CPI data. And the market has been in consolidation in most of the markets because of this overall movement. So at 9:30, when this news comes out, Matt's going to end up being inside of the classroom, so I'm going to allow my systems to be able to trade it. But we will talk about that, and I always talk about what the overall strategy is when it comes down to being able to go through high impact news like this. I have a hard 15-minute rule when it comes down to that. What that truly means is this: 15 minutes before the news comes out, I need to be out of all of the pairs that I know that I'm truly profitable in and be able to lock in that profit. Sometimes that's even an hour, even at the earliest 90 minutes before, to be able to make sure that you lock in profit. But 15 minutes after the news ends up coming out, make sure that you end up seeing how the market is basically reacting, whether it's giving you a big spike up and it just continues to keep on going up, and then after that gives you a little bit of retracement to be able to get back in, or if you're looking at a situation to where the market ends up making a big spike up to the upside and a big spike down, then after that starts to consolidate. In 15 minutes, you should be able to know what's happening with the market overall. Then after that, you can be able to make your move. Don't make a move and try to jump in while the market is still trying to digest what the actual news is. Now, some months you'll be able to know very quickly on what the news is going to end up being, and then some months you won't. So you just got to keep that in mind as we go through and put everything else together. All right. So with that being said, That's going to end up happening at 9:30, and then after that we have Tank and Large Manufacturing Index that's going to end up happening a little bit later on. So as we go through and be able to take a look at what's happening with the Ftmo challenge, we actually end up taking 2 losses earlier today. Actually, 1 loss earlier today that ended up happening on US on NAS 100 for the cash, and being able to go from there. That ended up happening right here. We ended up having 2 wins on US 30. So we took 2 trades. We went 2 out of 3, but the trades that we ended up taking on US 30 did not push the market up enough to where it could be able to cover up that loss that we ended up having, in which that's not necessarily a problem. Obviously, we're only down $45 when it comes down to that movement, but obviously we're going through the phase of being able to understand some of the tweaks and stuff that we need to make so we can be able to get prepared for what's going to happen in January, in which we're going to end up being 100% live on Ftmo, on Surge Trader, and on my Forex funds, in which we'll end up having dedicated videos for those and why we end up picking those and how we're going to end up getting that stuff set up. So we've already talked through everything that we end up saying. Obviously, I probably would have changed it to a 1-to-50 leverage system, meaning that I wouldn't have done a swing account, in which I still believe that I probably wouldn't have done a swing account at this particular point, but we are using a swing account right now. That'll give us 1-to-50 leverage, which would have had us pass about 4 days, within the overall system, based off of one of my other accounts and taking a look at those numbers. So still going through those phases, still trying to get those numbers and everything else like that. We've won way more than we've lost, but now we got to be able to have those trades be able to cover up and be able to win for us, so we can obviously be able to pass this overall platform challenge. We have 5 days to be able to do it. I think that we will. And if not, then obviously it's a demo system, so we're still trying to get the tweaks and kind of get everything else situated with that. But we'll end up going from there. Now, other trades that were taken on the Force EAs. There was a trade that was taken on DAX that ended up taking a loss. There was a trade on US 30, which was that trade that we ended up talking about earlier. They ended up taking a loss on that one. With the Skywalker EA, Skywalker EA is currently up on US yen when it came to force those overall movements. So super happy about that. And then after that, we end up having a Skywalker Max, which we end up coming out in January. Currently right now is up 18,000 when it comes down to movements. This one was up as much as 23,000 for the overall movement, but since then I've seen that we had a little bit of a U-turn. So I'm going to see how the market kind of reacts, if I should go ahead and just take profit early, or if I'm just going to end up letting it ride out. But we'll see how the market kind of reacts based off of that a little bit later on. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at the big 3. Let's see what's happening for those overall pairs, and then after that we'll kind of get a better idea about what's happening overall. If you're not familiar with the big 3 is, that's United States dollar index, that's oil, that's gold. The reason why we look at those 3 is because they have very good indications on what's going to end up happening with the Forex pairs, the US dollar pairs respectively, Canadian dollar pairs with oil, and after that with gold, that's the Japanese yen and the Australian dollar. So overall, what's happening? US oil at this particular point, from a weekly perspective, we are in a no trade zone. The market is pushing to the downside. It's past a R3 position. It could fall all the way down to 46.96 overall, but there's an expectation from a daily perspective that this market will go up to 64. Go down to 64. We ended up talking about that a little bit earlier, but the daily's in the buy zone. And this was the reason why I wasn't necessarily interested in being able to take a trade off of this one as of yet, mainly because the daily and the weekly were not trading in the same direction, because we didn't have time frame alignment and there was really no trade to be able to take. So I just still going to end up staying away on this one. We got a little bit of a breakout of this consolidation to the upside, but we were suspecting that it was going to fall to the downside. But we never took a trade off of this one, but it has to find what our actual support is going to end up being from this one. And actually has to find what our actual resistance is at this particular point, because it ended up rejecting off of some of the same levels that we end up having. Here's double top right there. Now we have an official consolidation area that we can be able to focus in on. From there, now we can be able to set up our trades on the outside of the range and be able to take the breakout of that movement. So that it gives us a little bit more time to see how the market's going to end up reacting at 9:30 today, as well as other things that are going on, and then after that, kind of be able to make a move. So oil, not going to end up making anything off of that one as of yet. US dollar pairs, I expect that it's going to end up being a consolidation, in which it actually is. Going into the week, we know that we're in the buy zone. We're in the buy zone right ahead of CPI data. So please keep that in mind as we go through. Take a look at it from a daily perspective. We can see that over the course of the last 4 days, we have been in consolidation, which has made it kind of hard to be able to get into some of the best trades overall when it comes down to this movement, because we just know that it is in consolidation. And I think that's kind of affecting some of the trades that we end up taking with other pairs as well, even though Euro United States dollar has not lost a trade for CBOS EA as of yet. Let me see if that is still correct. Yeah, Euro United States dollar has not lost a trade as of yet when it came down to that. So we'll see how this market actually ends up reacting based off of that overall movement, and kind of get into that overall. As long as we end up having momentum, then I'm totally fine with how the market is kind of reacting. Now, going into today, the last time we ended up taking a look at this, we ended up having a breakout of 12,980. From there, we ended up having a retest. The market ended up falling to the downside, and since then, the market has consolidated again. Now, with that being said, we have a tighter consolidation, but we don't have like a natural support that we can be able to rely on, nor a natural resistance, because we've only done resistance once, and at this point we hit support twice, but it was 2 taps that was basically within the same 8-hour period. So we're kind of end up playing that off a little bit more. Block, what's going on? Hope everything's going well with you. Let's see. At this point, obviously we're not going to take any trades before CPI data comes out, but I am kind of interested in being able to see when the market ends up breaking below. We can adjust these numbers now. When the market ends up breaking below 12,890. If it breaks below 12,890, then I'll be interested in being able to sell. If the market pops up and breaks above that 12,970 number again, then it's going back inside of that consolidation that we end up having right around here. So that means that obviously, if it breaks a resistance, it will go to another resistance. That means it will go up to 1368 very easily if that move actually ends up happening. If not, then we'll kind of end up going from there. Yeah, just got home. Got my visa extended today. Nice. How was the trip? I know you end up jet setting, but how was the trip? Or better yet, don't type that here. Send that to me in the Discord. Obviously, nobody don't need to be in your business when it comes down to that. All right, so United States dollar index, we're going to wait and see how the market kind of reacts, and then after that, we'll kind of go from there. Gold rejected off of 1800, fell down. We finally found a little bit of support around 1770. We end up having those trades where we end up getting out of 1800. And with this, we can erase what we end up having here a little bit earlier. Currently right now, we are in consolidation at the, no, I haven't talked about Bitcoin yet. We'll talk about that right after gold. Okay. Sorry about that. All right, so 1800 is the overall resistance that the market has to be able to break to be able to get into it. Now, our new natural support at this point is right at 1765. We can Get rid of this. We can get rid of that. Those old trades. You can get rid of that. $18.05 is the actual resistance if we're trying to be safe. Here's our support. Once market ends up breaking out of those two numbers, and after that we have an opportunity to be able to make a trade. The question is, okay, if we're going to take a trade, where we're going to end up getting in and getting out at. All right, so simply put, the market falls. Then ultimately what will end up happening is that it will probably end up going to a lease right there at these right at the past resistance, turning the future support. Okay, so that will be trade number one, position of where we end up getting out, or take profit one for its position where we get out. Based off of that, stop loss will be above the last swing high when it comes down to that movement. So that'll be our stop loss. I don't know what the stop loss is at this particular point, but that would be our stop loss. Or as a resistance price, the market keeps on going to the upside. This will be the first time it broke above 1800 in a while, but we end up having this consolidation that we end up having before right here, where the resistance will end up being at 1872. So essentially our breakout to the upside, if that does happen, would go up to here. Obviously we have a larger profit area that we could be able to take advantage of. In that case, our stop loss will end up being below the latest swing low when it comes down to that movement. Now obviously I'm going to take a look at volume profile to get a better number. I send that out to the Discord members so you can be able to see that a little bit later on. I do expect, because CPI data is going to end up coming out, that gold probably will be heavily moved on this one. So I'm not I really do think that there's going to end up being an order. We probably should look at being able to set up orders right at 1805, or to take profit of 1872, and 1765 with a take profit of what was the last resistance number, just to be safe. $17.29. So 1730 will end up being take profit off of this one. And 1872 will end up being profit off of that one. Keep in mind, we're in the middle of consolidation at this particular point, but that is going to end up being the two trades that I'm going to end up taking. Stop loss, we end up getting a better defined number, but currently right now, what I'm probably going to end up suggesting is somewhere below that number right there. So this swing low was at 1790. I would have my stop loss right around right below 1790. Yeah, it ended up being below 1790 off of this one. Okay, so $18.72 end up being a take profit. Stop for shorts. That ends up happening. My stop loss end up being above this swing high right here. The high was 1780, so stop loss would be 1781. Take profit will end up being 1730. Got Risk reward factor on both of those. Get around and pull that up real quick, and then after that, we'll go ahead and take a look at what's happening with Bitcoin. Risk reward is 662 compared to 156, so we got a 1 to 4.5 risk reward ratio with that. Risk on this one, 115 compared to 324. So we got a 1 to 2.5 ish. 1 to 2 point something. It's higher than 1 to 2.3 when it comes down to that ratio. So I'm gonna go ahead and plug these in. Give me a second so I can be able to place. Matter of fact, I can do that right at the end of the day. We go ahead and keep on moving. But that's the trade. So I'm gonna place this in. I'm gonna do a screenshot real quick so I can be able to send this over to everybody. But that will be my ideas on gold today. Let's see. Copy. Get this over to the Discord group real quick. Block, well, I got you here. Green day, red day, or stay away yesterday. Green day, red day, or stay away yesterday. What was it? Go. Perfect. Okay, so that's out for the Inner Circle Elite and Foundation members of the Discord. We end up doing that. If this is the only trade that I end up having today, then it will go out to everyone. But if we end up having multiple trades, then I'll leave that one on from there. Green on the grid bots have been killing it since November 22nd. How about you? Man, everything ended up going well until a little bit earlier last night. We got a little bit of consolidation on US 30. US 30 took 2 trades, won both trades, but Nas ended up taking a trade and ended up having a full loss on that one. So for the overall challenge, we're still up. But we got 6 days to be able to make it, to be able to get past that number, which means that I'm probably going to ramp up the, well, I'm not even going to be able to with 1 to 30 leverage. But I would look at being able to ramp up the leverage a little bit more to be able to try to get it to be able to pass that number. But we'll see. Overall, for just my EAs in general, Skywalker, the Sky Max is up 17,000 at this particular point, but everything else, Euro United States dollar hasn't lost a trade. Right now, Nas took his first loss. On Boss early this morning. So we'll see how everything kind of plays out with that. Bitcoin, let's take a look at that. That's not counting all of the other bots that I have, but overall, I feel pretty good. No major losses, no major wins at this point. So Bitcoin, we end up talking about a trade based off of the market breaking above 17,200. I personally did not take this trade, but the market did break up to the upside above that overall area. Its own path based off of this of being able to go to 18,240. So please keep that in mind. as we end up going through that overall movement. I think I end up getting stopped out when the market ended up hitting this overall point right here, and I never placed in that trade again. We end up seeing, well, let me clear out. I don't need to clear out the chart, but I do need to clean it up a little bit. I like being able to show that. That was the consolidation. Currently, right now, the market has broke out and retested the overall consolidation at this particular point. So it gives us a trade that we can be able to say, hey, are you interested in being able to take it? If you are, then you need to go ahead and start being able to make a move off of it. I do like the retest. The thing is, am I really going to like this retest based off of CPI data that's going to come out in the next few hours? That's going to be something that I'm going to be able to take a look at and be able to recognize for myself. But I do think that the market's going to end up retesting that 18,240 area. And if it breaks above that 18,240 area, then after that, we're talking about it being able to get up to 20,000 again based off of that movement. So that's something that I am interested in being able to see. 15 minutes. Let's see what's happening when it comes down to that. We had a breakout. We had a retest. I don't know if that's it made a new higher. We have a slight fractal right here. Well, that's not proven yet. So big breakout. Had a little bit of a retest. We're starting to see a U-turn. That is considered to be a counter trend line break, but that counter trend line break wasn't in the buy zone when that ended up happening. So I am going to end up paying attention to that a little bit more to be able to decide if there's going to end up being a move. I am still not, to be honest, I'm still not interested in jumping in yet. Even though I end up having an order placed in a little bit later or a little bit earlier. I would like to see the market do that, fall, and then truly be able to tap and go. That is personally what I would like to be able to do. I'm in a position to where I can be a little bit more patient off of that. If it keeps on rising up, then we'll have to make the move. But we do know that it's in a position to where it is bullish, and we can be able to decide on if we want to be able to jump in. And currently right now, I don't know why I'm hesitating, but I am at this particular point. It is a breakout, though. Okay, I can tell you exactly why I'm hesitating. I'm hesitating because of that indecision candlestick right there. Typically, when you end up having an indecision candlestick like that, you're going to end up seeing a little bit of a retracement. Typically, when you end up having a move like this, even though it wasn't necessarily the biggest push, typically you end up having a little bit of a decision move to the downside that may end up happening. But that means that based off of CPI data, that means that the United States dollar is going to end up getting stronger today. And if that is going to end up being the overall expectation, then yes, we could be able to say, okay, well, this market is primed to be able to fall. But I don't know. The CPI data was bad last time that we ended up taking a look at it. Sam Bankman was arrested today. And that's what pushed up the markets. So before I get out of here, I'm going to say this, and this is, I'm going to say this. So in December, typically, I do not make any moves in December when it comes down to crypto. That's me personally blocking. The reason why I say that is because I remember for the last few years, typically December is when most people are actually trying to take money out to be able to use it for any type of gifts, any type of things like that. Obviously, Chinese New Year is typically when you end up seeing the market really kind of pushed to the downside as well. So I've noticed that for a few years, and right around this time, that's the reason why I kind of get kind of weary on being able to make moves on cryptocurrency pairs. October, November, early December is the time when I end up making my moves off of it, and then after that, get right back into it in early January, February, especially in February, because typically I've seen a lot of movement in February when it came down to that movement. So I'm just going to stay away and not do that. So we got one trade today. I'm comfortable with that one, and then after that, we'll see a little bit later on how the news kind of reacts and kind of goes from there. If you like what I end up doing, please make sure that you end up clicking on that subscribe button. Make sure that you end up going to Expert Advisor reviews and be able to take a look at some of our new videos and stuff like that we end up having, including the Boss EA and the Boss Band EA that will end up being out in February 14th of 2023. The Boss EA is out currently right now. Obviously, we're going through the overall Ftmo challenge demo version of it to be able to get the kinks out, and then we'll be ready to go in January, and we'll live stream everything as we end up going through that, as it ends up passing and being able to get everybody else funded when it comes down to that. Like always, make sure that you end up planning your trade your plan if you're interested in being able to join the Discord and anything else like that. Please make sure that you end up clicking on that QR code, or not clicking on the QR code. Make sure that you end up scanning the QR code that you end up seeing on the screen. And like always, I'll see you in the next video. Take it easy.